So let's talk about one of the world's greatest epics, the Mahabharata. But we're not just going to dive into its famous story of a great war. No, we're going to uncover the incredible story behind the story, how this epic was even born, how it was forged in the mind of a sage and passed down through eternity.
You see, our story doesn't start on some battlefield. It begins in a moment of pure cosmic creation. This wasn't just someone telling a tale. It was like they were weaving an entire universe out of wisdom. It was a sacred act where every single word was meant to echo through time forever.
Now, to bring a story like this into the world, well, that required a partnership of truly mythic proportions. On one side, you had the great sage Vyasa, who held this entire massive epic in his mind. And on the other, the only being capable of writing it all down, the divine scribe, Ganesha.
So they made this really unique pact. Ganesha agreed to be the scribe, but he had one condition. Vyasa had to dictate the entire epic without a single pause. Vyasa said deal, but he had a condition of his own. Ganesha had to truly understand the meaning of every verse before he wrote it down. You see, this was never just about writing words. It was a profound meeting of minds.
And this is where Vyasa's genius really shines. He would intentionally compose verses that were so complex, so dense with meaning, that even a god like Ganesha had to stop and think about them. It was this brilliant, built-in system to make sure the story was transcribed not just quickly, but with real understanding. It kind of tells you that knowledge without meaning is, well, it's nothing.
So what was the result of this incredible divine challenge? Over 100,000 couplets that makes it the longest epic poem ever written. Seriously, just try to imagine that. It's like mountains of knowledge, entire worlds of philosophy and human drama, all taking shape through this amazing act of patience and wisdom.
Okay, so once this gigantic epic was written down, a whole new problem popped up. How could you possibly preserve it in an age before printing presses or, cloud storage? Well, the answer lay in a technology that's as old as humanity itself, memory, passed down through a sacred chain.
In a world where knowledge wasn't stored on a shelf, it literally lived and breathed inside of people. This teacher-disciple tradition, the Guru Shishya, was the sacred vessel for all that knowledge. Think of it as this unbreakable chain of trust where an entire universe of stories could be passed perfectly from one mind to the next.
And so, the epic began its grand journey. Vyasa first taught it to his own son, Suka. From there, it actually traveled to the heavens, where the divine sage Narada recited it for the gods. Then it was brought back down into the world of mortals, carried by trusted disciples, each retelling a sacred act of keeping the story alive.
And this all brings us to two really crucial moments, when the Mahabharata was finally formally unveiled to all of humanity. And it happened in two very different but equally sacred places.
The first big recital was done by the disciple Vaisampayana. Picture this. He's in the royal court of a king, King Janamejaya, and he's narrating this epic history amidst the smoke and flames of a huge solemn fire ritual. This was history being told to a king about his own ancestors, revealed with all the pomp and circumstance of a royal ceremony.
But a story this powerful couldn't stay locked away in palaces. It also traveled to the calm, serene Nimissa forest, a place where sages and wise seekers would gather. Here, under the branches of ancient trees, the storyteller Sutta shared the epic, not for a king, but for anyone who was searching for wisdom. And this really gets to the heart of what this oral tradition was all about. For the audience listening to the storyteller's sutta, this was so much more than entertainment. It was a spiritual lesson. They were listening for insights on dharma, that cosmic law of righteousness and duty. They weren't just hearing it with their ears, they were listening with their entire being.
I mean, after a journey like that, from a sage's mind to a god's pen, through generations of memory, into royal courts and quiet forests, it really makes you wonder, right? What is this story that was so incredibly important to protect?
At its core, the Mahabharata is this huge, sprawling saga about family, power, and the eternal struggle between right and wrong. A struggle that doesn't just happen out in the world, but inside every single one of us. It's a story about a royal family, cousins who were torn apart by jealousy and ambition. Its characters are just unforgettable, grappling with their duties, their desires, their loves, and their betrayals. And through all their struggles, the epic asks the biggest questions. Are we in charge of our own fate, or are we just actors in some grand, pre-written cosmic play? All of this drama, all this philosophy, it all leads to the great Kurukshetra war. But this isn't just any war over land or power. No, this is a cosmic, world-shattering battle for the very soul of an era. It's a conflict that will decide whether righteousness, dharma, is even going to survive in the world.
And that's exactly why this story has lasted. From its divine creation to the storytellers who carried it in their hearts, the Mahabharata is so much more than an epic. It really is an ocean of wisdom, so vast you can never reach the end of it, and so deep that its lessons are absolutely timeless.
Ultimately, this is a story that went way beyond its origins to become a guide for all of us, for all of humanity. Its characters, its dilemmas, they reflect the same struggles and choices that define our lives today. And it leaves us with a final thought to ponder. On the battlefield of our own lives, which side are we fighting for?